to the Dr. Joy Show, your prescription for total wellness, and I am Dr. Joy, your host, and today we have a fabulous topic. Students, parents, men, women, boys, girls should tune in. It's about the college process, getting through the college process and being sane while you do it. But of course, before we get started, we're going to have 3 deep breaths. Are you ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. How do you feel? I feel great. Well, guess what? We have a wonderful guest, Radha Mishra. She's with us today. Welcome to the Dr. Joy Show.
Thank you, Dr. Joy.
She is the Associate Director of College Counseling at the Hun School of Princeton. That's right, I said Hun School, which is not too far from here. And she is our resident expert that's going to talk about the college process during the high school years. That's right, the 9th grade, the 10th grade, the 11th grade, and the 12th grade, and how to manage that stress during this process. So welcome.
Thank you.
So what do you actually do at Hun?
At Hun, I'm a college counselor. What happens in private schools is they don't have guidance counselors like they do in many public schools, but they segregate what the guidance counselors do. So you have some counselors working with social and developmental issues, you have academic counselors and college counselors. Okay. So I'm a college counselor. I work primarily with the 11th and 12th graders as they prepare for college.
All right, but you know what? That's great. But I know that at the end of the day, 12th grade is the grade that when they leave us and then they go to college, right? But I want to pull the onion back and I want to start 9th grade.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about, because we want to manage the stress on the parents' part and the children's part, because I do know that the stress mounts up. What can a student do at 9th grade?
So the important thing at 9th and 10th grade levels is the students should be challenging themselves academically.
Okay.
Academics is very important at the school level. Sometimes students know whether they're good in the sciences or the humanities or whatever. Many times they don't, and that's absolutely fine. But the important thing is be careful with the academics. Athletics, arts, all of these things are very, very important. You want to be testing and trying out all different facets of school life. Okay. That's very important. Be involved in school life is absolutely critical. And it's important not just for the college purpose, it's for you to enjoy school time.
Exactly.
So while you're enjoying school time, but be mindful at every stage that academics is very, very important if college is what you're seeing for yourself at the end of your high school years.
Okay, so let's make the assumption that college is what the student is going to see and the parents want that for them. So 9th and 10th grade, it's all about the academics.
Mostly about academics. You have to be very mindful. This is this is no time to just sort of put academics on the back burner and have fun. No. When I say have fun, it's academics, athletics, sporting activities. Be involved in your school community. That's very, very important.
So community service is another piece.
Crucial.
Because you know this is part 1 of our of the segment, and part 2 we're going to invite an admissions college admissions director on. So then that way we can definitely mirror what we do here in high school and how we bridge the gap into college. So okay, 9th, 10th. You are grinding.
You know, we're not grinding, but we're not grinding, no. We really want you to explore different things for yourself at the school level. Grinding just makes it sound really aggressive and as if that's all we're doing, but no. But what I want students and parents to be really mindful about is when you're in 11th and 12th grade and you're ready to apply to college, you shouldn't say to yourself, I wish I had known that in 9th grade and I wish I had done better in my English or math or social studies, sciences, whatever it is. So be mindful that when you apply to colleges, most colleges will look at your transcript, which is all 4 years of your high school. Okay. So at that stage, if you're lamenting, I wish I had known this in 9th grade or 10th grade, it's a little late by then. So enjoy school. Like I said, athletics, arts, music, all of that is crucial, but academics is really, really important.
So academics is on the top. Now, so freshman year, of course, freshman year of high school, the students are assessed in 8th grade to determine what classes that they're going to take freshman year. So if they're in regular classes, say regular, the categories are regular, college prep, and then AP.
Regular is college prep.
Regular is college prep.
Regular is college prep, and then you have the honors level, and then you have the AP level.
Okay.
So many times students entering 9th grade are either in the college prep, which in itself is a very rigorous college prep course. At Hun, most of our college prep courses pretty much are at the honors level anyway.
Right.
So college prep is rigorous. Of course, honors is a little bit more, and then AP usually by the time you're junior and senior, that's when you're sort of moving into the AP territory.
Right.
But college prep and honors is what we offer at the 9th and 10th grade level.
Okay, so what classes should they take? A math, a science?
Always the 5 core classes.
Okay, and what are those?
The 5 core would be a math, English, science, social studies or history, and the world language, which could be Latin, Spanish, French, whatever it is that your school offers you. And remember, what the colleges are looking for when they do get your transcript, when you're applying, is 5 core classes through your 4 years.
Okay, so
that's an ideal transcript.
So that's an ideal transcript, because some kids, you know, they say, okay, well, I did my language first 3 years, and then I'm going to kick it. I'm going to put my feet up. So you don't recommend that?
Not at all. Not unless, of course, you know what, when I say not at all, this isn't as if it's carved in stone. If a student is struggling, clearly in the Spanish or the French or whatever it is, the world language that they've got, you want to be mindful of that. You don't want them to be struggling because it's not going to reflect well on your transcript. But if a student thinks, okay, my school, for example, at Hun, we require 2 years of world language. That's the graduation requirement for Hun. But many times, the graduation requirement for a school is not the same as the requirement for a college.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Now, why is that?
Depending on the kind of college you're looking at. If you're looking at very competitive colleges, they're getting kids who've done 3 or 4 years of world language.
That's true.
So you know what, even though technically the college might not require you to take the 4 years, but will they look upon it favorably? Absolutely.
Okay.
So when I have some of my seniors come and say, oh, Ms. Mishra, I've done 3 years of Spanish, I'm not doing, I seriously discourage them. At the end of the day, it is their decision and their parents' decision, which I respect, and I'm going to support my kids regardless of what they do. But as a college counselor, I would be remiss if I didn't tell them, honey, I really, really want you to see if you can do that 4th year of world language. Also remember, with the language, with the world language, many colleges, especially the very competitive colleges, they do have the language requirement when you enter
yeah, I noticed that.
You know that one?
I noticed that.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned, just speaking about the world language, Spanish, French, German, Latin.
Latin is another one.
If you have a child that's in 9th grade, because you do have some of these kids where they come in and they want to be at the top and they want to get into the top college. What language would you recommend that they take?
You know, no recommendation at all here.
Okay.
Really, a lot of it depends on the languages that your school offers, depending on the school. Right. So no recommendation here. Whatever language you take, many times students continue with the language that they started in middle school, which is fine. A lot of kids like to take Spanish. Living in the United States, Spanish is always a phenomenal second language to have. But whatever language you started off in the middle school, if you want to continue with that, that's fantastic. Many times students want to change the language, and that's fine too. Whatever it is, stick with it and take it seriously. And my suggestion always is try and continue with it for 4 years, because that's really going to serve you well at the end of the day when you're applying to colleges.
Because it's all about that transcript and what it looks like. What about science?
Science, once again, most colleges tell us that they're looking for a physics, chemistry, and a biology.
Okay, not in that order though. It's
no, absolutely.
Okay, what is
not in that order. So the order would be biology, chemistry, and physics. Many times I think students feel that physics is a little bit more challenging, which it is, I'm sure, and they want to get out of it. But my recommendation is, based on what the colleges tell us, these are the 3 core sciences, and they would like to see biology, chemistry, and physics. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, and if your grades are there, and if you have the instinct and the personality, go ahead with honors. And of course, it would always, schools, it always is that the academic advisor works with you to see if you are well equipped to work at that advanced level.
Okay.
The last thing you want is you want to challenge yourself and then you're playing catching up through the year.
Oh yeah,
that's not good for anybody.
That's not good. That's not good because the college process is stressful.
Absolutely.
I see it almost as a sport.
Sure.
And you have to. It's like running a marathon because it's what you have for your 4-year tenure in high school.
Yes.
So to me, that's a marathon. I'm a sprinter by nature.
You are.
So so gun goes off, I'm done.
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 9 seconds, it's done for me, depending on the race.
Yes.
But this college process is a marathon race for students and parents and anybody else that's involved.
Absolutely. But you know what, it's a race, and I'm sure you're a sprinter, and people who run, I don't, but people who run, I'm sure they enjoy it. And that's the important thing to remember, even though it sounds stressful.
Right.
And I absolutely agree with parents and students that by the time you're getting ready to apply in 12th grade, it is very stressful. But it's still, you must enjoy your high school years.
Right.
It's not as if it has to be one or the other.
Okay.
And the important thing is just be mindful of some of the things that you need to do to make sure that by the time you're ready to apply, you have the basics in place. And then it's simply a matter, to me, it's simply a matter of, how do you say, the timeline has to be set, and you have to work accordingly. It's no use, you know, you haven't done, you've sort of squandered away your freshman, sophomore year, and then you're playing catch up junior and senior year. Many kids do that.
Yeah.
Boys will be boys, girls will be girls, and all of us have done that.
Right.
But if you sequence it accordingly, and that's my job as a college counselor, really, to get, essentially it's the kid who's applying. Essentially it's the kids' testing scores and the academic scores and all the extracurricular activities. My job really is to make sure that they put it all in the right order. We have all the parts of the package in the right place, together at the right time.
Good.
So depending on when they want to apply, they go ahead.
But most college counselors or guidance counselors, if you're in a public school, college counselors if you're at Hunter and Petty and Lawrenceville, they don't touch the student though. When do you touch the student?
Junior year is when we get them.
So how do you start to mold them?
9th and 10th?
9th and 10th grade.
So this year, for the first time, we're going to start working with the 9th and 10th graders.
Okay, great.
We're going to start introducing them to what is called Naviance. And this is sort of a preview of what's going to come.
Okay.
So I'm sharing that with you. So we're going to start working with 9th and 10th graders, both with the students and the parents, preparing them, because believe me, many times we've had 11th and 12th graders come and say to me, like I said to you earlier, I wish I had known about this in 9th grade.
Right.
So we're going to start working with the 9th and 10th graders, and for the first time. But even otherwise, even though we as college counselors don't necessarily work with the 9th and 10th graders, all our students in upper school, both the students and the parents, they know that anytime they have a question, they come to us. And we've had more and more freshmen and sophomore parents, and I really appreciate that. You know, sometimes some people feel that, oh, you know, these are over-anxious parents. They're not.
So the parents have to be involved with the process. So it's a partnership. It's a three-way partnership, I see, for the entire duration.
Absolutely.
The parents, the children, and college counseling for this to make it smooth.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now let's talk about
actually
testing.
before we move on to testing, I just want to say one thing though. Parents have to be involved, but they should not take over the process.
Okay, that's good.
It's always the student's responsibility.
Right.
You know, especially actively when they come to me, I actively discourage the parents from calling colleges. Colleges don't want to hear from the parents.
Of course
Colleges
not.
love for the kids to advocate, and that's what we want to make our kids. You and I, we've both got children. We want our kids to be advocating for themselves.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because when they leave, they're young men, young women making their own decisions, and so we need to start to cut that umbilical cord slowly. But now let's talk about testing. I want to talk about testing. I want to talk about college visits. I want to talk about the different tests. So let's talk about testing first.
Okay.
What are the main tests that colleges want the children to take?
Okay. So the GPA, which is the academic piece from the school, is one part of it. The second part that the colleges look at, as you rightly pointed at, is the testing,
okay,
or the boards, or the SATs, ACTs.
Right.
In the Northeast, SATs have been traditionally the more popular test,
okay,
for college admission. ACT is another test, and that's catching up in terms of popularity. What we at HUN have been trying to tell our students, and we've succeeded to a very large extent, is we're asking the students to take one SAT, one ACT in their junior year,
right,
early on-ish, so that they have some sense of which test am I more comfortable with. Those two tests are different tests. Don't let your kids tell you, oh, I heard ACT is the easier test. It's not. It's a different test.
Right.
ACT is more closely aligned to classroom teaching. So if a kid is, but it does have the science component.
Yes,
so if
it
a kid,
does.
yes. So if a kid isn't comfortable with science, you know, that's for you to be mindful about. But ACT is becoming increasingly popular, and we have been seeing good results with our kids taking both the ACT and the SAT for them to choose. All right, so I was more comfortable with the SAT. Perhaps that's the track that I'm going to follow.
Do both of the tests have writing components?
Yes. ACT writing component is optional, but we absolutely encourage, strongly encourage the kids to always do it with writing.
And why is that?
Competitive schools, they want to look at your writing. You know, not even the very competitive, middle-of-the-road schools, they want to see your writing. And, you know, depending on whatever school you're applying to, it's never going to hurt you,
right,
to have the writing component. SAT, you know that the writing is included in the test.
Yes. So now, ACT, SAT, but there's also this thing called the SAT too.
Subject tests. And I have all of the 3 books sitting out there, the 3 books that we recommend strongly for students to look at when they're preparing for the test. SAT subject test. Now, be mindful, with subject tests, not many schools require subject tests.
Right.
So if you have, early on, if you have a good idea of the kinds of schools you're looking at, if they don't require subject tests, that's something for you to think about. Many times schools look at subject tests for placement purposes.
Right.
That's something for you to be mindful about. Something else I want to mention, Dr. Joy. More and more schools are going test optional.
Really?
More and more.
So this is good. So we're reducing the stress a little bit.
Isn't that the truth? Yes. So the website for parents to know and for students to know about, it's called fairtest.org.
Fairtest.org.
Yep.
Fairtest.org.
It's an entire list of schools, and there are, I think, more than 700 schools and really, really good colleges who have decided that the test is perhaps not the best indicator of a student's success in our school, and we don't want to use that as a criteria for entrance purposes.
So they come up with other criteria.
Absolutely. Well, so then the GPA has to be strong.
The GPA's got to be hot.
Many times they want you to send in samples of your writing.
Okay.
But you know what? It's a great thing for kids who aren't good test takers, and many of us are not good test takers.
Right.
We do really well in school, but then the timed testing isn't for us.
And I want to touch on that too. I would like for us to really discuss that and emphasize for the children and the parents, just because you're not a good test taker for ACT or SAT does not mean that you're not going to be a success.
No,
all right?
Absolutely,
so because my husband and I personally know people that are not good test takers when they were back in high school, but they're very, very, very successful adults now.
And now that you raise that point, I want to tag on to that and say, just because you don't go to the big name schools that we know about, top 10, top 20, top 50, there are more than 3,500 colleges in this country.
3,500 bachelor colleges?
Indeed. If you look at this college handbook 2011, more than 3,500 colleges, whoopsie-daisy, in this country. And just because you're not going to the top whatever number,
oh my gosh,
means nothing, means nothing. As long as you're going to a college, which is a good fit for you. You've probably heard the phrase good fit all the time.
Right.
That's the most important part of the college process. You don't have to go to a big name to be a success. I didn't, most of us didn't go to big name schools.
So how do we determine, let's go fast forward now, how do we determine that good fit from a parent, student, coupled with the college counselor? How is that best fit determined?
A lot of components go into that. Do college visits.
Okay, when? When do we do those?
Some students start as early as summer of going into junior year, which is a great time. Some do it a bit early, but that would be an ideal time.
And if you have a sibling that's ahead of you,
phenomenal.
Go along with them.
Absolutely. And when we do college visits, we mean sitting up in the car and looking out of the window. We're not sort of laying in the back of the car while mom and dad are driving the car and doing college visits.
All right.
So we do that. College visits is great. You know, that way you get a sense of, okay, big, small, private, public, what kind of college works for me? So that's an important component. If you're a certain kind of student in the school, you don't want to necessarily be applying to those big names colleges where you're going to be constantly catching up. Even if you did get in, why would you? I wouldn't want to be in a place which was so far above me that I was constantly catching up.
Then you're defeating yourself.
Exactly.
And then that goes into mental wellness, which is your self-esteem, because then it's going to go down, and that's not a good thing.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Absolutely. So you look at all of these, you do your research, you talk to your college counselors. You know, if I'm a shy, quiet kind of person, would a smaller campus be better for me?
Okay.
If I'm a big, you know, football kind of person, a big rah-rah college, would that be good for me?
Okay.
Whatever it is, you talk to your counselor, you do the research, and the fit is important. The name to me is really neither here nor there. When you're in the job market, nobody's, you know, maybe the first job is going to be based on what college you, a little bit on what college you went to. At the end of the day, who's going to care what college? It's what did I get out of that experience?
20 years later from there, they won't care.
Nobody cares.
But initially
maybe
coming
the first job,
and then going to graduate school, they'll see. But again, when you apply to graduate school, and I'm fast forwarding 4 years, they're going to look at that undergraduate transcript. So that's got to be on point. All right, so let's go back to testing.
Yes.
How many times do you recommend the students take the test? And also, what scores are reported to the colleges?
Okay, so with the SAT, you have score choice these days, which means that if you've taken it more than once, and if you did really well in the critical reading of the, for example, the May test, and you did really well in the math of the June test, you can pick and choose. Colleges do what is called super scoring.
Right.
They really want to give you the benefit.
Okay, so does the college do that, or does the student have to pick and choose?
Students can actually report, they pick and choose and report on the common application.
Okay.
But then they also have to send their scores from College Board.
Oh,
because you know, just reporting yourself isn't enough.
Oh yeah, because you need to actually validate what you actually said on the application.
Sure, absolutely. So super scoring is there for the SATs, which is fantastic. ACTs, it's the composite number that the colleges get, but ACT is also broken down, and colleges will look at your reading and your math and your science sections. Really, my sense is colleges want to give you the benefit of the number. How many times should you take it? That was another question of yours. You know, there's no right or wrong. On an average, I see kids take it at least twice, both. I strongly encourage my students to prepare. I don't like this taking it blind business, but do they do it? Oh, Miss Mishra, I just walked in. My own child does that. What can I say?
Right.
But preparing is a good idea.
At least know what,
absolutely.
So what books do you have for preparation?
Okay, those 3 books over there. Right on top is the ACT book.
Okay.
It's a book with 6 tests. Is it the 6th one or the 3 one? This one.
And
this got 3 real tests.
And this is something that parents and students can purchase.
Absolutely. Any bookstore will have it. In our school, we actually have some of the secondhand ones that the students give it to us once they've used it.
Right.
That's a great preparation book for the ACTs.
And then this one?
SAT, a great book. Once again, the College Board, the official company that actually prepares the SATs.
Okay.
That's a great book. It's got 10 tests. Yep.
All right. So
and
now,
that's for the subject test.
That's for the subject test. So the subject test. So it's really 3 books that they need to invest in, and they're relatively inexpensive.
If they are.
I mean, it is for your investment of your children.
And also, there is a lot of free online resources. Be mindful of that.
And what site would they go for the online free?
You know what? Just Google, and it should come up. There is a number2.com. That's a site that I often give out to my students. Number2.com. But there are many, many sites. If you Google free SAT testing, there's tons online.
All right, so let's do a recap. Freshman and sophomore year, you're taking your 5 core classes, and you're making sure that you're enjoying high school, but your academics should be a priority.
Always a priority.
Always a priority. You will prepare to take those tests junior and senior year. These tests junior and senior year.
Senior year, maybe a little bit because you're applying, December end is when you absolutely have to apply by. So mostly junior year, spring of junior year seems to be a very popular starting date with our students.
All right.
So spring, there's no testing over the summer. Be mindful of that.
Right.
And then, of course, you can once again start in October. Is when SAT starts again. And September is when ACT starts again.
Okay, so you should wrap up your testing by the third and fourth quarter of your senior year. I'm hearing you say September and October. So we wrap that up.
So that's the first quarter of the academic year.
First quarter of the academic year. College visits, whenever you can get in the car.
Yes.
Get in the car and go to the college
absolutely.
visits. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, it doesn't matter.
Whenever.
Parents now.
Yes.
Name two things that you would want to communicate to the parents out there.
Support your child.
Okay.
Do not do the work for the child. Support your child.
Oh, I know some people that actually filled out the college applications for their children.
Yes. And I can understand that. As a parent, I want to do whatever I can for my child. But really, it's not serving them well.
But that's not good,
It's not serving them well.
Right.
Like we said, you're preparing your child to be the young man or the woman who's going to enter college.
Exactly.
Remember, in college, you might not even have access to your child's transcripts. So remember that.
Right.
Yes.
And that's going to be discussed on part 2.
Okay,
because
good.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So support your child really in every way possible, whether it be college visits, whether it be, if you want to stay up a little bit while the kid's filling out the application, or if you want to, the kid says to you, Ma, can you read my college essay? You're reading it. You're not doing the college essay. You're not writing the college essay.
Okay.
So really, that's the one big thing that comes to mind.
When does the application process begin?
All right. So common application is the one big application that all seniors fill out these days. Some schools haven't signed up with Common App. Most schools have. That goes online on the 1st of August.
Okay, August 1st is a critical date.
That's for all rising seniors.
Okay.
August 1st is when it goes online, and you can start filling it out, and then you work with your college counselor or your guidance counselor. It's very, very, very straightforward, very self-explanatory.
So to wrap up and to minimize the stress, because the college process, like I said, is an arduous process for parents, for the student, and for the college counselor. You want to start your process in 9th grade.
Yes.
Focus on your grades, enjoy college, but enjoy high school.
Yes.
But focus on your grades. Also do some community service, figure out what you like.
Yes.
Junior year, prepare for these tests. The ACT, the SAT, be mindful of the dates, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And children.
Yes.
Because the dates are critical, because there's money attached if you pass those dates.
Yes.
Also, practice your writing. Get in the car with those college visits.
Yes.
Parents, support.
Absolutely.
Support your children in their endeavors.
Absolutely.
And begin the common application August 1st.
August 1st is when it comes online. Absolutely. And another deadline to keep in mind while we're talking about deadlines is the FAFSA, which is the financial aid form. And regardless of whether you need financial aid or not,
everybody needs it.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs it.
Absolutely. And I strongly suggest the FAFSA, the day it comes online is the 1st of January.
All right.
For 1st of January of your child's senior year.
Okay, so we got to complete the FAFSA. So those are the things that you need to be mindful of. Parents, students, and college counselors work together.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Radha, for being a guest on the Dr. Joy Show. I look forward to having you back to discuss part 2. Until next time.
Thank you.
Be blessed. Stay healthy. See ya.